My brothers and sisters, you are now watching the Gamer 2323, so just forget about the chores you're supposed to do. Put your feet up, get your Kool-Aid, fried chicken, popcorn, get whatever you may need! And I hope you enjoy the video.
We are Venom. Like a turd in the wind.
Anyways, man, so yeah, doing my little Venom review, what I thought of the movie, I needed a full day to get all my thoughts together before I decided to do this review, because I was like, I don't want to just hop into this junk, just trash in the movie. First off, the movie wasn't that bad. It wasn't that bad. Like, these critics, that's exactly what they are. They're freaking critics. Like, they're freaking suckers that be inside their basements all day, you know, and they get paid to see movies quick, so they might leave the basement for like 2 hours and go to like they go to the theater and like watch it. Well, then they head straight back to that basement to like review it, you know, and that's exactly what like critics are. They critique, you know, so they might be a little extra harsh with it, and that's exactly what I felt like happened with Venom. The movie wasn't that bad. I mean, it wasn't the greatest movie, but so these reviews would have you thinking like, yo, this movie was ass. It wasn't that bad. I'll probably give it like, nah, 7 too high. 7 is too high. I'll probably give this movie like a 6.5. Probably give it a 6.5. But it had its enjoyable moments, you know. So no spoilers, you know, just gonna talk about a little bit what I thought of the movie. Honestly, I might give it a 7 because they gave you this a free comic, you know. So when you went to go see the movie, they said, here, take this comic and like make sure you don't trash the movie because we gave you this, you know, so, let me start with the pros first, because I actually wrote down the stuff that I liked about the movie, stuff that I didn't like about the movie. Oh, no. Actually, let's talk about the stuff that I didn't like about the movie. Let's get the bad out the way. That way we could get to the good. Alright, so, the stuff that I really didn't like about this movie. First off, the villain. The villain in this movie, you know, which we saw in the trailer, but I'm still not going to say nothing just for the fact, you know, I don't want to say too much. But the villain in this movie, not the most convincing fellow out there. Like, he wasn't menacing. And you don't always have to be a menacing villain to be a good villain, but you have to have something about you that's just like, okay, I get it. He's the villain, you know, but he wasn't convincing like at all. It was just like they went into freaking, I don't know, Starbucks or something and said, hey, you ever played a villain in a movie? Have you ever been a villain in a movie? He was like, no. You want to be? Come on, come on down to the studio. We got you, fam. You know, and then, bam, he was the villain. So yeah, the villain in this movie, I actually think that was the weakest part about this movie, the villain. I just feel like, and again, which is why this is such a huge issue. You're already having a Venom movie in a world with no Spider-Man. You're already selling yourself short with Venom in a world with no Spider-Man. On top of that, you can't even have a convincing villain. It's like, come on, my dude. You know, so the villain, I think that was my biggest issue with the movie. Really wasn't convincing at all. You know, he was just like a normal dude that was trying to be like quirky, and then like in like some moment in some moments he would like, you know, have moments of like outrage, but even during those moments it was just like, am I supposed to be scared of you? Am I supposed to be scared of you or something? You know, it was one of those villains that had too much money and too much power and just seemed spoiled. That's exactly what he seemed like, so, yeah, the villain could have been better. Wasn't crazy about, the relationship with, Eddie, Brock, and Anne, who I guess was his, girlfriend, really wasn't crazy about that. I forgot the actress who plays Anne. I forgot her name, but I've seen her in a different movies, but yeah, that whole like relationship that they tried to like shoehorn in like the movie and like, here, care about this. No, like I did not care about that relationship at all, really, it was just like, it was there, but it really wasn't, maybe during some moments, it was good to see how much like Eddie actually cared for her, but like outside of that, it was like, it really wasn't convincing. It was just like, can we please get to more Venom scenes? So that, there were some cringy scenes throughout the movie. And some of the critics were comparing this movie to a terrible version of Deadpool. It wasn't that much humor. Like, they did have, some moments to where, they would try to get a laugh. Sometimes it worked. There were definitely sometimes it worked, because which I'll get into the pros, but there were sometimes it worked, sometimes it didn't. There were definitely some scenes to where I feel like they just could have did more with that scene than what it was, and instead of that scene actually, being something, more, it just turned into like a scene where they tried to get like a cheap laugh, and it was just like, really? So it's like, there were some cringy scenes throughout the movie and stuff like that, but nothing that bad, but there definitely were some like crickets, like, so that, the movie, I felt like, and maybe this could be like a pacing issue, because the movie was 2 hours and 20 minutes long. And when it was over, I'm just like, holy crap, this junk is over already. and it's not one of those types of, oh, this junk is over already, I'm having so much fun. This movie was one of those movies that was like really quick to the point. It was like, here's Eddie, here's the symbiote, here's the villain, he's now Venom, here's now Venom scenes, the movie's over. It was just like, what? So I felt like the movie like went too quick. Like, by the time the credits rolled, I'm like, what? The credits are rolling right now? And it was like, again, it was one of those, it wasn't like one of those, oh my god, this movie is over already, I'm having so much fun with it, I need to see more. It was like one of those, like, I know this ain't it. So the movie felt, even though it was 2 hours and 20 minutes long, it felt really short. And maybe it's because like the way this movie was like edited, it just seemed like it was really like quick to the point. Like, here. Thank you. Y'all have a good night. And then they left the theater, so that, but yeah, outside of that, I mean, that's really all the stuff that I didn't like about the movie. Definitely had its flaws, most definitely. But the way that these reviews are making this movie seem, it ain't that bad. Hell, I still had more fun watching this movie than The Amazing Spider-Man 2. Still! So it ain't that bad, but getting to the pros. I really loved the dialogue between Eddie and Venom. That whole dialogue thing, when like Eddie, kind of gets, I guess, infected, by and they actually say symbiote in this movie. Like, when they first showed the first trailer, they was like symbiote. I'm like, what is that? I'm like, what is a symbiote? They actually fixed that. They actually call them symbiotes in this movie. But yeah, from the moment that Eddie was infected by the symbiote Venom, I loved, like, that was probably my favorite part about the movie. Like, the constant, like, bicker and dialogue between Eddie and Venom, as Venom is, like, inside his head, talking to him. There were so many fun. Venom was actually the funniest person in this movie. Like, the funniest thing in this movie. Like, a freaking like a freaking alien life form was like cracking the most jokes, and that's when the theater was laughing the most with like the constant, back and forth between Eddie and Venom. So that was my hands down my favorite part about the movie. The early, stages of when Eddie was turning into Venom, like, when he first got infected and then he started to like get all these different powers and like stuff was happening and he didn't know what was going on. I love that whole scene, like the slow transformation into becoming Venom. I love the way they did it, he was like, running away from like the freaking suckers that was after him. And that was my fear, like, which it kind of turned into that in a way. Like my fear of this movie was like, it was going to be like the Incredible Hulk movie in '08, where Edward Norton pretty much throughout the whole movie is on the run from like the military, which is kind of what this movie was now that I think about it, but it still worked in like a way, so the CGI wasn't that bad. Like I remember seeing both of those trailers and I was like, this CGI ain't looking too hot, Chief. But when you was actually like watching it in the theater, it didn't look that bad. The CGI was actually impressive to me. Like, and it only looked bad, when like it was like too much, like, or when he would first like transform into like Venom, like, in that first scene where he had like put, the Venom mask on and he was like, we are like that scene in the trailer didn't really look that good. But in the theaters, it didn't look that bad, so the CGI, with the whole symbiote thing, it actually didn't look that bad at all. The only time the CGI kind of looked a little iffy is when like the end fight, where it just looked kind of like iffy there. But I'm trying so hard not to say too much, But the fight scenes, they weren't bad at all. I really feel like this movie could have used a rated R, like and I don't know if they're still. I just don't get it because we've had successful rated R movies as of late. I mean, so we had Logan, that might be my favorite. I mean, it's not really an X-Men movie, but that might be my favorite like movie with freaking Wolverine in it. Like Logan was freaking an amazing movie. Deadpool, all the success that got, like I'm not sure if like suckers think, oh my god, we can't do rated R because we might not know. Like it can work, and I feel like Venom definitely could have used that rated R, because, and this isn't a spoiler, but scenes, to where like he was freaking biting suckers, like they would like pan the camera like as he bit someone. It's just like, really? Show us. It was just like, I definitely felt like this movie would have been better if it was rated R instead of rated PG-13. Like, who wants to see a PG-13 Venom? Really? So, and there were no kids in the freaking, at least when I was watching it, there was no theater. I mean, there was no kids in the freaking crowd, so it was just like, come on now. And last but not least, please stay towards the end credits. That's all I'm saying. Just stay. You know what I mean? Hell, at this point, when you're watching a Marvel movie, you should know by this point to stay. Like, if you still getting up, you uncultured swines, if you still get up right after a Marvel movie is over, kill yourself. like, please stay in your seat. Even though this is from Sony, it's like, you never know with these suckers. But no, it's still a Marvel movie. So definitely those end credit scenes, interesting. Interesting, I'll say. But yeah, that's really all I have to say about Venom. It definitely wasn't the best movie. I left a little disappointed. But I'll say this, I felt like, even with all the flaws this movie had, I felt like this movie did Venom more justice than he had in Spider-Man 3. like I really do. Like, and even when I go back and watch Spider-Man 3, it's really not that bad of a movie. It's really not. Go back and watch Spider-Man 3. It might have some cringy scenes, But man, that movie wasn't, that trilogy was not that bad, you know, and man, I would love to see Toby have a cameo in one of these movies, something. Bring that sucker back, like, after Spider-Man 3, this sucker has gone ghost, kamikaze, you can't find this sucker. It wasn't a terrible movie. It wasn't, but it wasn't the greatest movie, but it was like right somewhere in between, you know. You can still have fun watching this movie. That's what I'll say. So yeah, I'll give it a 6.5 out of 10. You know, it's crazy because if we're talking about games and I gave a game a 6.5, they're like, oh, this game is ass. You know, but when it's movies, it's kind of different, you know. So no, we ain't talking about a game getting a 6.5 out of 10. We talking about a movie, you know. So the movie's not that bad. I'd still say if you're interested, go see it. You might have fun with it, you know. That's what I'll say about it. I was a little disappointed, but I wasn't like completely like let down. Like, Jesus Christ, they ruined another one of my favorite. They ruined yet another attempt at one of my favorite villains of all time. I wasn't like that, you know. So that's what I'll say about Venom. Definitely go see it if you're still interested in seeing it. I mean, I really can't say too much, but just stay after those end credits. What did you guys think about it? If you saw Venom already, let me know down in the comment section below. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. Call of Duty drops Friday! I didn't even realize this joke because all I'm thinking about is Red Dead Redemption 2. I'm like, oh snap, Black Ops 4 drops this Friday. I know some suckers might not care, but that Blackout? That Call of Duty Blackout though? It's either I go and play Blackout or I continue to get destroyed by suckers that could build a 5-star hotel with Wi-Fi in Fortnite before I even get a chance to shoot. Pick your poison. You know, so I probably might be getting that this year. Red Dead Redemption 2 drops soon. So yeah, we'll have some more games to play before this year ends. I know after Spider-Man, it's just like, now what? You know, but we got some still games coming. But hope you guys enjoyed this video. I'll catch y'all on my next one, all right? Peace.